Hey you! Welcome to my channel. My name is Mary and this channel will be dedicated to my art journey. I have loved art my entire life. I don't remember a time where I don't love art. I love creating it. I love looking at it. I love seeing new types of art and exploring it. So that being said, this is my channel and this is what I want to do. The journey really started the beginning of this year. A rededication to the journey of art because I haven't done art in quite a few years. Life gets in the way, things have been busy, and I just hadn't had the time to do it. But now in my life, I make the time. I don't wait for the time to happen. I put that time in there. I make time for it. Now, I had a big project at the beginning of the year. I had to clean out my art supplies. And just moving things around in the house. I work from home now, so I had to have a home office, but I had a crafting space and had to make things work. Now, I'm cleaning out the art supplies because a lot of them I haven't used in years. I'm just going to be honest. I haven't used them in years. I'm probably not ever going to use them. They're not doing anyone any good sitting in my closet, but they could go to good homes. And someone will get some use out of them and bring them some joy. A lot of the things that are in there were geared towards children. My children are grown and gone, so I don't need to have, kids crafting things. So while I'm in there on this big mission, this big project to clean it out, I came across my gel plate. I love my gel plate. I haven't used my gel plate in 6 years, maybe even longer. And it kind of makes me sad because I absolutely love printing. And since the beginning of the year, I've been exploring other types of printing in addition to my gel plate. So I have made the time to play with my gel plate. And that is actually, I think, a large part of the videos are probably going to be geared towards working on my gel plate and coming up with those projects. Because once I got that gel plate out, you better believe me, I was printing like crazy. I have a mad stack of prints and I had to stop printing because the print pile was getting way out of hand and need to deal with it. Okay, so the second thing that I found at the beginning of this year, probably I think around in March or April, I ran across Neurographic art. This stuff is amazing and anyone can do it. It's absolutely incredible. I love it and have kind of been obsessed with it a little bit actually, because it's just, you don't have to really think about it, though that is the intention with this type of art, is meditating and thinking. So the purpose of this video today is to talk about the neurographic art, because I'm going to show you how I do it, and this pretty cool tool that I found to help me with my neurographic art. I just got it a few days ago. I haven't used it in my art yet, so tonight will be the first time we do that. It's going to help with the connections, making my lines a lot smoother. Well, the curved parts of it. And it'll make sense when I show it to you. So neurographic art was created as a type of therapy. You write an intention or maybe a problem you're trying to solve on the back of it, and then you're going to flip it over and you're going to start making the lines and making the neurons and the connections, and then you color those in. And while you're making those lines, you're supposed to be, thinking about whatever it is you're thinking about, you're meditating on. Now, the very first time I did this art, I did it in the true way you're supposed to do it, wrote the intention and did all of that. And as you're making the lines, you're supposed to be thinking about it. And that's not me. It's not me at all. But I do believe in my heart that it is great therapy for people that could use that. And it's an easy art that anyone can do. And that's the beautiful piece about it. But artists have taken this art form and they are running wild with it. And they are coming up with some incredible and beautiful, amazing pieces of art and really pushing out the creativity, what you can do with it. And it's absolutely beautiful. I don't have anything that's spectacular like that, but I do have a few pieces that I've done that I really like myself. And each one is different because in each one I've added something different to it, and it was done purposefully because I'm in this phase where I'm just exploring what I can do with it. Now, well, what is she talking about? Quit talking and show me the art, right? Well, I have to get into a little background here. So last week in one of the groups on Facebook talking about neurographic art, someone says, hey, does anyone use French curves in their art? Sparked a great conversation. And the truest in it will say, no, we don't use any tools. And the other ones are like, yeah, sounds like a good idea. Wish I thought of it. And it's your art, do what you want. And that's me, I'm in that camp. Though I love to do, when I learn something new, I do love to do it in its true form, how it's meant to be. Then I will always go back and change it, because that's what I do. I change everything. I don't keep anything in its normal form. I change everything. Usually it's to make it a little bit more blingy, or, you know, yeah, it's usually to make a thing more blingy. But anyways, that it's a great art form. I love it. So they mentioned the French curve, and I'm like, yeah, I know what the French curve is. I had one in school. We never used it. No one ever said what it was for. Have no idea, but I know what it is. So I went, and of course, I got a set. And I got them a few days ago, and I'm very excited to use this set of French curves. So this is probably the most shape I think that you get with the little school kits when you were a kid in school. But it's got all these great shapes. I really can't wait to use this one, because I think it's got a great shape for a wing. I love to draw wings. I love my art. I do a lot of flourishes, flowers, curls. It's just, that's the type of art that I like to do. I love curves. I love following along the line of curves. I think curves are beautiful. There is a quote or a saying or something out there. It's like, you know, and I love it. And it's like, you know, the most beautiful curve on a woman is her smile. And I just love that. So anyways, it's beautiful. I love it. It's just, I'm all mushy on the inside. Yeah, I know I look tough on the outside to some people, but I'm actually just pretty kind of mushy. So anyways, let's get to the art table. I'm going to show you how to do this neurographic art. We're going to play with these and see if they work as well as I think they're going to work, because I think this is exactly what I needed to take this art form up to another level for me. And I'm also going to be able to use this in other art that I do as well. I'm really kind of sad that I never thought about these, and that, you know, I'm coming to these late in the game. I'm sure everybody probably uses them, and I'm kind of the last person to find them, but, you know, better late than never. And it's always best to, you know, show up and get into the game than to be sitting on the sidelines just watching. All right, we'll see you at the art table. Hello, so we're back at the art table, and as I said, I would show you some examples of my neurographic art. So this is the very first one that I did, and these are the neuron connections that I was talking about earlier. And so when you draw the lines, and wherever the lines cross and intersect is where you will make the connection. This is all done in watercolor. I love the colors in this. I really love the gray background on this. I think it's really pretty. But this is the very first one I did. Like I said, you can do them all kinds of different ways, and we learn as we go. This is the second one I did, and I hate this one. But I'm showing it to you anyways, because there are some things that I like in it. Originally, this background is not watercolor, it is inks, metallic inks, which I do love my acrylic metallic inks like crazy. I like the little circles in here, but overall I just, I'm not feeling it for this one at all. But you know, you always keep them, always keep your art so you can see how far you've progressed, because sometimes when you think you're beating yourself up, and you don't know how far you've come unless you save the things that you've done, and then you can just you look through and you're like, wow, I am getting better, so you can see progress. But that's how we measure the progress, right? And then this one is all watercolor as well, with gold ink and black ink, and I think there's some Prismacolor pencils in there as well. And there again, there's the connections where they are, and that's what it's all about. This is the last one that I did, and this is my favorite one. And as you can see, it's just a progression. Added the border around it, added all of the florals and the flourishes, as I told you that I love those. Typically, if I'm on the phone or in a meeting or something and I'm doodling little things like this all over my page. So looking at this one, I think I should have painted this one in, so I'm probably going to go back in and paint this one in, but I really love this one, and look to do, I think, more probably going into this style. Okay, so now we have our blank one here. This is Canson watercolor paper. That's what I prefer to draw on, but you draw on whatever you have. If you're just learning, the very first ones that I did were actually on copy paper, just to kind of get a feel for it. Typically, I would do a warm-up exercise and just practice just that muscle memory and warm up my hands, but we're not going to do that. You don't need to see that, but I got my handy-dandy pencil. And so the idea with it is you're going to make lines and they're supposed to go off the paper, but I like to have the border, so that's why I block mine off. Plus I'm also going to watercolor, so it'll hold the paper, it'll hold its shape. So yeah, that you just going to go off of the lines, and you just start anywhere. It's just random. So you want to make sure you go off and just kind of like curve, go back over on itself, and oops, I didn't really mean to do that one, but that'll be fine. And just go back that way. Now, when you're first doing this, you might want to leave them like this and not have too many lines intersecting, because it gets really busy and you might literally lose yourself in them. I did a design the other night that it got complicated after a while. So it's like, okay, we're not going to do that. But what you can do with these spaces that you have is put circles in them. Here we go. And just, you know, plop them anywhere that you want. You feel like it, just go with it. Or if you want to sit and think about it and just kind of compose it, do that as well. It's your art. Make it the way it makes you happy. And so there we go. A circle there. I like to do things in threes. Okay. Now I already know, because I've been experimenting with this, that as I go along, I'm probably going to add more circles into spaces, but they're going to be smaller ones, but I'll do those later. So in this case, this is what I'm talking about. Every place that these two lines connect, that's a neuron connection. So then you want to bring your line and from here to here and connect. From this one to this one and connect. And there we go. And so then you would color that in. There's your neuron connection. So then you would connect on this side. Now this is where I was hoping, and I believe that the French curves are going to help, because we get these lines and we have all these different curves, and now we can do this, and it is a beautiful curve. It's a little bit more cleaner than this one here. Yeah, it's, you know, you could use it on all of them. I probably won't though. Just on ones where I think I need a little bit of help, and we'll just go from there. So I can already see how I can get from there to there. And there we go. All right, I definitely am loving this tool. I knew it would work. It's a beautiful line. And as I said, we don't have to use them on all of them. So you're just trying to think that, where's my circle shape going to be in here? And so maybe I want to come out this way and bring that connection here. Or I might want to make it come in a little closer, so the connection is smaller here and I have more space in here to paint, or you know, put other circles in, or whatever design that you want. So really, that is it. And this tool is doing exactly what I wanted it to do. So I'm going to say winner on this one, definitely, for sure. This makes me happy. This makes me very happy. And another thing with this tool, if you go to purchase this tool, you want to look for one that has a beveled edge. If you're going to be doing making marks using pen, you want the one with the beveled edge. I did read that. And I'm dropping things everywhere. See what happens when you make a video for the first time? I'm not really sure what I'm doing, but I can tell you this, I'm having a lot of fun. So I hope you are as well. And I hope that you will give this a try. It's it's very fun. So this is where I'm seeing where you could get lost here. So another thing that I would do in the beginning, if you put a little X there, you know that you've done that one that's going to color in, because I've done somewhere, I've done the connection and then went back and did it again. Though technically there's nothing wrong with that. You could keep making connections this way, but then it turns it into something different. So there, we know we're going to take these and mark those out. That might be something that's easy for you to do as well. So because we've done that, we know that we need to take the connection from here to here, and then likewise from this side over here. So, and that would have been prettier with the French curve, but you get the idea. So that's pretty much how you would do that. So bring that back to here so you can see this shape here is more or less this one. Then you color all of those in. Typically it's done with black, but you know, I saw art the other day where they did all of the connections and everything in gold, and it was absolutely stunning. It was almost ethereal looking because it was kind of watery. Must have used watercolor, you know, turquoise and blues and greens. It was absolutely stunning. I think I may try that. So as you're doing this and you're making your marks and you're gonna know where you're gonna color things in, so then you're looking, you're like, I need some more stuff in here. So that's when you can come back in with your circles and line them up. You know, put circles inside of circles. You can put a free floating circle just in the center here. So this one's not going to have any connections. And that's what I did on the other ones. On this one, this was a large circle to begin with. You can see it. I put 3 large circles on here and put lines through them. And then I put smaller ones, the ellipses where the lines were, so it looks like there's little bubbles inside of the big circle there, which I think is pretty cool. But it's your art, do it any way that you want. So yeah, I'm gonna call this a success, and I cannot wait to play with this. As I said, I think that this makes a great wing shape right here, a great petal shape for flowers. You know, I just can't wait to play with it, because I think for me, there is a lot of possibility here. So I love it when you can get a tool that is simple and doesn't take up a lot of space, doesn't cost a lot, and you can get more than one use out of it. So go back through, and I will go back through and make where my neuron connections are. I like to try to make one pass on the line, and so that you can see it. And then because it's such a large piece, I have a brush marker. I have several different types of markers, and this is a pit pen, and so I can come in and just get this already knocked out. Typically I would have erased those, but I didn't have my eraser right here and I forgot. But that's okay, it covers it right up. And really there are no mistakes. If you think that you've made a mistake or you didn't get the connection exactly right, well then you know what, you have the opportunity to completely reimagine it and make a new shape, and that's always exciting in art. And I know a lot of times I used to beat myself up. I would make what I thought was a mistake, but really it was just the opportunity to, one, learn something new, or kind of push myself to see how can I save this, how can I fix it. And most of the time you can, and then you end up with a totally different piece of art. I don't think I've ever created any art that exactly looked like what I thought it was going to when I started, and that used to bother me, but anymore it's like, I think it's kind of exciting because we don't know what we're going to get, and I like surprises like that. All right. So I've decided I was going to go ahead and just finish filming this so you could see the entire process. But I wasn't sure anybody wanted to hear me talk through the entire process. Now, when you are using markers, if you plan on using watercolor make sure that your marker is waterproof. And typically Sharpies are good for that. Pitt pens are good for that. Anything with India ink is usually good for that. But you do want to make sure. And I do enjoy just outlining. And these are kind of a little wonky. I'm a little tired. I've worked a very long day today. I work a lot of long days and a long week, so I am going to enjoy my weekend. I hope everyone else does as well. Gotta make time for yourself. So you can see how this, because it went off the page. Now, typically, I'm going to do a border here, so I'm going to go ahead and just solid put that line there. I'm okay with it because I'm going to do a border similar to the other one that I did. And I may actually just border out the whole thing. I've never done that before, so maybe we just will. And that's fine too. We can do whatever we want. My lines aren't very, they're all kind of wonky tonight. And then sometimes I'll go back in and try to fix things, and then we'll end up coloring that whole thing in because I picked at it too much. Oh, not that I would ever do that, but yeah. Now see, there was a tiny, tiny connection there. I covered it with the marker. Sometimes I do. Sometimes if there's a connection somewhere and I just don't like it, I'll just cover it. You know, it doesn't matter. It's what looks good to you, and you know what feels right. What is your art telling you? What does it want to be? And that's what we want to do. I'm kind of going through this fast. Not taking my time as much as I probably would, and sometimes I go through these things fast anyways. So this is really a real basic connection. I'm actually gonna make this one a little bit bigger because I kind of see where the shape is here and it's kind of going this way, and we're just gonna follow that curve and inside of here, because remember we've got these connections here and here, so I go ahead and sometimes I just go ahead and draw in my little oval shape and then fill in the neuron spaces there. I guess that's what we're calling them. And there's one here, so I'm imagining we got that there. I'm going to sharpen this one up a little bit here where that connection was. And you just play with it, and that really is the idea. Because it's supposed to be therapy and helping and whatever, you know, just do it the way you want to. Because I can already see here some pretty little flourishes going right up in there. And see, it's kind of plain. It needs a little help. And that's when we can go back in. You can add more lines. You can add more circles. You can add whatever you'd like in there. As I said, I will see this and I like this here. I think this would be a great place for a circle, because sometimes once you get them colored in, you can see it a little more and you'll know where to add stuff. As I said, the one I was doing the other night, it got complicated very quickly, and I was like, I don't think it's supposed to give me a headache. It's supposed to be relaxing. So I just kind of put it down, and probably going to erase some of the lines out of it. So there again, I like to imagine the shape in here, so that will kind of determine, you know, where I'm going to go. I might make that wider, that connection there. I'm going to round this up a little, bring this one here, and that's it, really. You know, I might be breaking all the rules, but this is how I do this. This is my interpretation, and it's a lot of fun. I think it's just really great for anyone. I think it'd be great for kids, especially if it's like kids that don't think they have any art talent. Of course they do. They just don't know that, you know. And they're kids. It's our job to to guide them. Anyways, there we go. And so we crossed here, so there's a line there. And we crossed here. So we go there. There's just something about coloring in a marker and filling in the spaces. It's very relaxing. I actually might do this one in Prismacolors pencils. I haven't done one all in everything in pencil. So I kind of imagine these connections here. And boom, make that line thicker. This line's going to be kind of like by itself out here somewhere. Just kind of like, hey, what about me? I want to be a part of everything too. So, you know, we'll just, we'll put in a, I just broke my own rule. I used a marker on my stencil. I never do that. Just kind of got carried away there for a second. I'm even thinking of breaking my own rules. So remember, there's a connection, those two there. So I'm going to fill that one in. And we have that one. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, we've got one over here. So now they're hanging out over here. He's got some buddies. And he's not all by himself. Okay. And I try not to hopscotch around all over the page too much because I will miss connections. Or I'll go back and I've done a connection, then I'll do another connection to the connection, which I guess that kind of makes it cool too. All right, so this one is completed, and all that's left to do to it is to go back in and, you know, color it and color it any way you want to. Or, you know, there's Zentangle. A lot of people do Zentangles in there. I like Zentangling. I'm not like way crazy into it, but I do enjoy Zentangle, and that works great for this. I love this art because you can mix it up with other art forms and things that you may like, you know. You can put any kind of drawing in there. You can use paint, watercolor, ink, pencils, crayons, whatever you have to throw some color in there. Or if you just like it as a black and white, that would be great too. I do know that I'm going to try with the gold ink and all of the pretty turquoise and greens and blues. I'm going to try that, and throw in some purple too, because I always like a really deep purple against turquoise and everything. It's just so calm, and I like all that. All right, well, this is it, and you can see we have a circle here with nothing in it, because I already know that with mine, I'm going to draw inside of mine, so I want that space that way. But you could definitely come back in and toss another line in there, and then you'll have some neuro connections in there as well, because it is kind of busy over here. So if I'm looking at it, kind of a lot going on over here. I don't have a lot going on over here, so maybe I should put something in there. Yeah, let's just go ahead and stick something in there. More or less about how I think. Yeah, just go ahead and do it. There's no wrong. There's nothing wrong here. And you know what? And if we don't like it, guess what? It's just paper. I'll paint over it. I've done that before too. I've got a lot of paintings that are underpaintings. Because, you know, I just don't really want to waste it, but I don't use all my good art supplies when I'm practicing. I use a lot of copy paper or cardstock paper just to practice. Art supplies can get expensive after a while, but they're so much fun. That and shoes. Oh my goodness, I have a problem. I have a problem with bags, shoes, art supplies. That's kind of a crazy combination, isn't it? All right. And I'm going to make this one over here. Now these lines, I know why they're being a little wonky. It's because I'm using this brush tip marker, but I wanted this to really show up so that you guys could see it. Because typically I'm using, you know, a Sharpie, which a fine point Sharpie, but it could still be, but I use those mostly for filling those connections in. But usually I'm using a, you know, a micron. This is the brush one. That's the one I'm looking for. This one, a number 1. And I like this one too. So, and micron has so many different sizes. Some of them are so fine. They're so real tiny detail work. I typically don't use those too much in the type of work that I do. So this is basically it. I do want to go back in and clean up some of these lines, and then we'll go in and put some color and see what happens with this one. But overall, I like it. I think that, yeah, I do that. I've got that. And then this is my favorite color for today. And I like that. And I think, oh, of course, I have a little hot pink in there, put a little pop in there. And this green, I love that green for more pop. So I think that's what I'm gonna do is use color pencils on this one and get to working on it. This will take me a while to do this, but I will post a picture of it when it's complete. I hope you try this. I really do. It's a lot of fun. It's easy. Anyone can do it. The rules are, you know, just where the 2 lines cross, that's where the connection is. That's where you're going to make that arc, and then fill that in, and that's your neuron connection. That's the rule. So I hope you give it a try and have as much fun with it. Go crazy and see what you can do with it. All right, y'all take care.